the order of the meeting of the Waterworks and Lighting Commission. First order of business is the approval, additions, or corrections to the minutes of the following meetings. The regular commission meeting held on September 1st, 2015.
I make a motion, we accept it as read.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? If not, all in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Number 2 is a Building and Grounds Committee meeting held September 23rd, 2015.
I'll make a motion, we accept those minutes as submitted.
And I second it.
Okay. All those in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Special Commission meeting held September 23rd, 2015.
Make a motion, we accept it as read.
I'll second that.
Yeah. All those in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, number 3, resolution number 2015-02, resolution of the Wisconsin Rapids Waterworks and Lighting Commission authorizing execution of documents pertaining to the restructuring of the American Transmission Company, LLC. It's a mouthful, huh? It is.
Well, you commissioners have been well abreast of this issue over the past year. Earlier this year, we actually approved the Resolution 01, which basically opted us out of the ATC transmission investment outside of their existing footprint, which is the state of Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula. AT&T's been driven pretty much by the investor-owned shareholders to potentially invest in out-of-state transmission projects. All of the municipal and cooperative owners, shareholders in the state, have decided to opt out of the out-of-state investment, mainly because of risk of a project not coming to fruition and a lot of expenses being incurred by ATC to make that happen. And the other part of it is that the size of the projects that they might potentially invest in would be rather large capital calls or contributions from the owners. Now, investor-owned utilities have the advantage of being able to borrow money and arbitrage the interest rate that they're getting on the borrowed money to what they're earning on their transmission investments, where municipally owned entities are not allowed to borrow for those type of investments. That's the main other reason that we're, the municipal and cooperative owners are opting out of the investment outside the state. Now, there is one rub to that. ATC has already made one transmission investment outside the state of Wisconsin, and that's in California. They bought a portion of the North Path 15 line, which basically runs from Los Banos, if anybody knows California, from Los Banos up to the San Francisco area. Once all of the agreements are executed with the municipal and cooperative owners, we will receive a one-time buyout on that investment in California, which will be dependent by independent arbiters will determine what the line's worth. They're estimating right now that the payout to the cooperative and municipal owners will be somewhere between $35 and $40 million. Now, that won't be our portion of it. Ours will be a lot smaller than that. I guess the problem with the line in California is they still have about $70 million of outstanding debt also on the purchase of that line. The agreements have all been reviewed numerous times by our law firm, the Boardman and Clark Law Firm out of Madison. The Whippy attorneys in-house have also reviewed the agreements. The agreements protect the municipal and cooperative owners from any type of investment that would go south outside of the state from actually impacting the holding company or our investment. So that was the main driver of the agreements, to protect our investments and ensure that anything they do outside the state can't impact our owning share or you know, the basically any earnings that we would have would not be taken to fund anything outside the state. So we've met on this a number of times, but I will, does anybody have any questions with respect to the agreements? Basically, the resolution gives me the authority to execute all the hold code documents and make sure that we just stay what's inside the current footprint for investments. Tom?
Yeah, I know this is probably the best of our investments. And is the dividend payout, according to the old plan, going to stay the same? And that can't be touched?
Correct. Now, you know, they do have several projects that they're working on right now within their current footprint, so all that investment will ultimately be paid out. We'll have to contribute in capital calls, but then normally our dividend payment the next day is higher than what we're investing. Now, some portion of what we have been earning to date is a result of that North Path 15 line in California, so that will be backed out, but I don't know, I don't think that'll severely impact what our earnings are within the state.
Okay.
Especially since they have 2 or 3 other transmission projects they're getting excited, and one's actually under construction already within the state, so I don't think that will happen, no.
All right. That's my only question. So then if there's nothing else, I guess we need a motion for this resolution. Can we just call it resolution 2015-02 of the Wisconsin Rapids Water Works and Lighting Commission?
We can, yeah.
That gives Jim, the general manager, to the right to negotiate and sign documents with ATC.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Is there any other discussion?
Nope.
All those in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those no. There were no no's.
All right, thank you.
All right, the safety committee meeting. Sean, I saw one of your, you had the confined spaces in your outline. Is a bucket considered a confined space, or is that a whole separate training?
A bucket as in
On the bucket
trucks?
truck, yeah.
That's not a confined space.
Okay, but there's safety regulations and rules, I take it, for the bucket, and training for handling a bucket truck?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Confined space would be more, we have those underground vaults downtown, now we're trying to get rid of them all here as we redo the downtown projects and put them all in above ground switches and transformers. But also our water guys are in confined spaces quite often, fixing water main and stuff like that. So
Okay.
we regularly have NEWS help us with that training.
And this training was just for the water department, the electrical department will be getting their training January 26th.
All right.
So
Thanks.
hopefully, like John mentioned, getting rid of those faults. We don't have anymore with the electric crew. They will be getting their training.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, line superintendent. Nothing for the line superintendent? Water Department report. All right, nothing for the Water Department. How about the office manager? Joel, the trip in the SDC is that, this is a tough time to get collections for that, I take it. It's probably soon after the tax season that it,
Yeah, I think primarily, and we've actually migrated more towards SDC than TRIP. And SDC has methods available to them besides just intercepting tax refunds.
okay.
So by virtue of that, we're having, more success maybe than you might think.
Yeah.
We're winding down on the electric disconnect.
Yeah.
Moratorium starts here in a couple of weeks, so.
And well, the accounts receivable looks like you said in your notes, in pretty nice shape.
Happy.
You're doing a pretty good job keeping everybody as much as we can. And I saw, would we have 100, you disconnected in September, 140 some people?
What is the official date for the moratorium?
Last day we can disconnect is October 31st. I believe the last day we will be disconnecting would be the Wednesday of that week. I think it might be the 28th.
That's just electric, keeping in mind we may, depending on how things shake out, be disconnecting water later than that.
All right, if no other questions, Director of Finance? I see our finances are in quite a bit better shape.
They are.
Losses for the water, I guess I have here. Well, for the power, the price increase, have a lot of impact there right now, or?
You mean the rate increase we did last
Rate
year?
increase,
Right,
I'm sorry.
that's the whole change right there. Our kilowatt sales are pretty flat what they were last year. But it's
And
just
the power usage is,
pretty similar. I think it's down just a little bit from
Okay.
2014.
and of course the water, we have a normal winter that have impacted pretty much the profitability, I guess.
Right, exactly.
Compared to last year, we had people out all the time.
Right.
It's looking like, at least in the preliminary budget for Great Lakes utilities on wholesale power supply costs are going to be no increase again next year, so that'll be like the fourth year in a row, or at least, fourth year in a row there has been no rate increase, which is pretty unheard of in the wholesale power markets right now, so.
Well, that's good.
And our budget meeting is set for September 4th, so should be a long day.
Is that like 11 months from?
Or no, I meant November 4th. Oh, sorry.
You didn't say August either. You said
Yeah,
September.
we've already did it, don't you remember? You approved the
I
budget.
thought it wasn't September. All right, Information Systems Administrator, report. Was the outage management, Matt, part of that provided last week, as a month, you told us about how the iPhone would work and the iPad wouldn't. Did you work out those types of issues, or is?
Well, we didn't work them out, but I got to talk to them about it face to face instead of over email.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our last, when we went with this NISC package 3 years ago, with our technology strategic plan, this is the last piece that needs to be implemented, so.
Okay. So you're still waiting for the, somehow to figure out how to get this to operate correctly?
Yeah, we're getting closer, but it's slow going.
Yeah, all right.
If you could figure out my problems.
All right, conservation manager. What is the Wisconsin K-12 Energy Education Program?
That's a program that we offer scholarships to. What it is it's set up through the university. It's K through 12 energy education program. They educate instructors, teachers in the area or throughout the state in energy education concepts. Use it in the high school and in the grade schools. We have recently given 2 scholarship offers. I think it was in the amount of like $430 per scholarship. We have filled recently one of those to a first grade teacher out of Grove Elementary. I've been in contact with the KEEP instructor with the university, and that second scholarship, it appears, will most likely not be filled by the first of the year. They had some enrollment issues at one of their education conferences that were supposed to be given up at the Mead Wildlife this fall. So they did not meet the enrollment requirements. So right now it looks like we've sponsored 1 scholarship this year.
Okay, thanks. Anything else? Anybody have any questions? If not, Director of Engineering, Electrical Operations?
Busy months.
Yeah, it's been a busy summer. I think me and Paul are just hoping for winter.
You don't want to do that in the middle of winter.
You take some good pictures though.
Yeah.
The crane itself was something else. I mean, quite a piece of machinery to lift a $50,000 transformer out of the substation, but it was a lot of prep time.
That was Dahl's crane.
It was brand new. It was like it just got out of the box or something.
Yeah.
You have to ship that on a low boy trailer?
Yeah, and they had to take the top bushings off the transformer to get the height clearances. Yeah.
All right, General Manager's report. How come you toured the call center? Did you change something or?
No, we've had a couple issues with communication between both of us. So we went there to work out those issues, and I think it's helped a lot. We actually got on the supervisor's number to call directly through to communicate, and so our linemen can communicate back to them if they need additional help, and a number of other things that came about as a result of the meeting. So we're hoping it'll improve going forward. But that's why we made the visit. We have a call.
Jim, I have a question on, at Nakusa, a couple years ago, they must have, I don't know what they did there. I have some properties there, and all of a sudden, bang, their water goes from, I don't know, it was less than what the average person pays here to now it's a household is about $100 a month there, which I think is considerably higher than what we pay in Wisconsin Rapids. And what my explanation for that was they let things deteriorate, they needed a new water tower, stuff like that. My question, I guess, is there a reserve then that plans for that? It seems you guys are doing a good job with maintenance and preventative stuff, or is this something that will eventually happen in Wisconsin Rapids that we got to do this huge increase here too?
No, I think our depreciation funds are at a level enough so we won't have to have that large an increase, and part of it is also staying on top of it. I mean, Nakusa probably hadn't had a rate increase in I don't know how many years, probably 15 or 20. So if we bite it off in small chunks and do it every 3 to 5 years and get a smaller rate increase, and then it mitigates the real large.
Which I think is better for the consumer too, that it's not getting.
And the other part I heard about Nakusa, and this is just through word of mouth, so I don't know, was that they built a bunch of infrastructure to that industrial park that they have in town, and they haven't had any takers from a consumption perspective, so that kind of shifted a lot of infrastructure costs of the industrial park onto the residential users.
Okay.
So, and I think that was the main part of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Does anybody else have anything for Jim? Nope. If not, any questions on the accounts payable? I see we tremendously increased our sales expense this year, and I know it's like the baseball game, it's like 31,000.
Yes, that's how I saw it.
As the 100-year anniversary. Which was budgeted, so,
Yeah.
but there's a big increase from another 100 years and we're all gone. They can do that.
What, are you trying to get rid of me?
I don't think I'll be around here.
And I also noticed the power adjustment clause, was up like $85,000 or so. This, for the month of August 2015 compared to last year. And I see one was a pretty substantial amount during last year. Is that just a typical August?
With the power cost adjustment clause, that's just going to vary, depend on what the demand is for that month and what the usage is for that month. So I believe this August was hotter than the year before, which just caused a difference. So
It's all load factor based on our power supply agreement. So if it's only hot for a couple days and it spikes our peak demand up for the month, we get billed for that. But we typically don't get the kilowatt hours underneath it for consumption in order to, even it out. So we're paying a bunch for a couple days of increased capacity and then not using it the rest of the month, and it just hurts our load factor in the system.
Yeah, and you'll probably see the same thing in September because we had a couple of very warm days in September.
Yeah. All right, anybody have any questions on accounts payable?
Excuse me.
If not, would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. All right, all in agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.